go back to the beginnings, the name Luxembourg appeared for the first time in 963, in the year of 963, when Count Siegfried acquired a small fort situated on top of a rock in what is today Luxembourg City. This became then the area from where the successive counts of Luxembourg actually grew their foothold in Europe. And at the start of the 14th century, the House of Luxembourg actually had acceded to the imperial throne of the Holy German Empire, and has then played a major role on the European stage for several centuries. The Luxembourg city was actually then gradually transformed in a formidable fortress called Gibraltar of the North. It was actually such a strategic place that all these European powers fought for the control of Luxembourg, because from there actually they were in a fortress that could not be taken, that could not be actually conquered by anyone else. 1795, finally the French Revolutionary armies occupied Luxembourg, and then happened the Vienna Congress in 1815, and Luxembourg actually at that moment became a Grand Duchy and was on paper an autonomous country, but belonged in personal union or personal property to the King of the Netherlands, who was King of the Netherlands and Grand Duke of Luxembourg. Luxembourg was also at the same time member of the German Confederation. And early 19th century there was a lot going on, especially between the German Confederation and France on the other side. So at the Treaty of London in 1839 actually fixed the borders of Luxembourg as they are today. And finally in another treaty in London in 1867, Luxembourg's international status was consolidated, and the country finally was then being seen as an independent and perpetually neutral country. Remained though in a personal union with the Netherlands until 1890, when the Dutch King William III died and didn't have a male heir to the throne. And at that time the throne of Luxembourg passed on to another family, the Nassau-Weilburg branch of the Nassau dynasty, which is still the ruling family of Luxembourg, with Grand Duke Henri of Luxembourg, with the current head of state. Even though Luxembourg...
Yes, maybe we should share it, yeah.
You want to... No. We can do that in writing.
Yeah, right, in writing, yeah.
But just in a couple of words, after that, First World War, Second World War, Luxembourg was on paper neutral, but wasn't actually, that didn't prevent anything, so we got both times invaded by Germany. Then we learned our lesson, and after the Second World War we abandoned neutrality, became a founding member of the UN, of NATO, and also, of course, one of the leading countries in the European integration process. Luxembourg is one of the 6 founding members of the European Union, and Luxembourg City is one of the 3 European capitals, together with Brussels and Strasbourg in France. Now, today Luxembourg is a representative democracy with a constitutional monarch at its head. And it's very, as I said, very dynamic, open country, and it's also a microcosm it's a very international country, because around close to half of the resident population are actually of foreign origin. So it's probably one of the most international countries in the world. Better late than never. We wanted to do this earlier, but then things got delayed, especially also through COVID. So it was planned a little bit earlier, but we're now finally here. And why are we here? Because Korea is, of course, a close ally of Luxembourg, and I cannot say that without going back and looking at the historical roots of our relationship, the relationship between our two countries. Is firmly rooted in the participation of 85 young Luxembourgish volunteers in the Korean War, and that was at that time the highest per capita participation of all combating nations. So that's really the founding block of the relationship between our two countries. Now today, of course, Korea is an important partner in the political field to Luxembourg, because we share a lot of common views on the world. it's also a very important economic partner to Luxembourg, and Korea as a G20 member, as a highly developed economy. There has always been, or there has been over some time now, increased interest in developing the relationship between our two countries. And opening the resident embassy was thus the logical conclusion to bring this relationship a step further. And we're also very happy that the Korean government is opening its first resident embassy in Luxembourg this year also. I mean, the economic cooperation is certainly one of our main focus areas, but this is an embassy, so it's covering the whole bandwidth of areas of cooperation and of relationship between the two countries, and the political dimension is also very important. As I earlier mentioned, both Korea and Luxembourg strongly believe in a rules-based international order. They are both supporting international law and an international order grounded in the principles and purposes of the UN Charter, and that's especially important on the background of what's going on in the world today with Russia's unlawful aggression of Ukraine. Both our countries stand up and say condemn this aggression, and this for a lot of reasons. First and foremost because it's questioning this international order, but also because it has direct security implications for Europe, but also for Korea through the increased cooperation between Russia and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea in violation of numerous UN Security Council resolutions. Then, besides economic and political, there's of course also scientific and cultural cooperation that I personally think is very important. There's a lot of interest among young people in Luxembourg to get to know Korea better because of Korea, the K-content wave that arrived in Luxembourg, like in a lot of places in the world. But also, there's also a lot of interest among universities and research institutions in Luxembourg to develop cooperation with Korean counterparts. There are already cooperations in place, but there's really interest to get this relationship developed further. For the future, okay, on the latest figures from 2023, trade flows from Luxembourg to Korea total 241 million euros, more, and out of that, 67.5 million were trade in goods, and 173.2 million were trade in services. On the other hand, trade flows from the Republic of Korea to Luxembourg totaled 61.3 million euros, and out of them 35.6 million were trade in goods and 25.7 million were good trade in services. And the services are then mostly financial services. It's a very interesting place for non-European Union stakeholders, because Luxembourg is a key gateway to the European Union, and these actors can then benefit from direct access to the EU single market and can then benefit in Luxembourg over a high range of specialized, tailored to their needs services in the financial industry. Another, I spoke about green finance, which is an important part of that. Then space. The space industry has gained increased importance in Luxembourg over the last decade. Luxembourg is home to world leaders in satellite technologies and has also recently pioneered in space resources. Luxembourg is, after the United States, the second country in the world that has implemented a legal framework for the utilization of resources mined on asteroids. And so this existing focus on satellite technologies, the new focus on space resources, has actually created a whole center of gravity for actors from the space economy to create or establish companies in Luxembourg, startups, but also more established companies. And today we count around 80 companies in the space sector that have made Luxembourg their home. Luxembourg is also a member of the European Space Agency since 2005. and has created its own Luxembourg Space Agency in 2018. So we're very interested now in increasing our cooperation with the newly created CASA, Korean Space Agency. Digital economy and ICT is very important also. Luxembourg has an excellent IT infrastructure. We have the highest density of tier 4 data centers in the world. We're very strongly focusing on cybersecurity, and that's also an area where South Korea is very strong. So we have this objective of becoming a data-driven economy and ensuring that way the green and digital transition. Luxembourg has a strong and long-standing track record in manufacturing on traditional and innovative materials. High-performance steel, the world's largest steel maker, is headquartered in Luxembourg and has production facilities in Luxembourg. Plastics, value-added composites, functionality glass, and so on and so on. The automotive industry is also important in Luxembourg. Luxembourg is home to many globally active component suppliers for the automotive industry, who have established production facilities or their European sales and research and development headquarters in Luxembourg. We can once again offer providing specific services also now when it comes to autonomous and connected driving, because Luxembourg is connected to a range of 215 kilometer public motorways that have been actually put in place as a cross-border digital test bed for autonomous driving. And so you can actually from Luxembourg test autonomous driving solutions in cross-border situations and in real life conditions. Logistics, Luxembourg's location in the heart of Europe makes it, as I said, a good entry point to the European Union. Luxembourg Airport is strongly positioned as logistics hub and is one of the leading freight airports in Europe, and one of the world's largest all-cargo airlines, Cargolux, is a Luxembourgish company and is also flying 3 times a week to Incheon Airport. So there is already this connection also. So these are the main sectors now for the future that I want to mention, but there are probably others that might come up, and our doors are wide open.
Yeah. Yeah.